On We're live. It is episode 3 of that exciting series, Agile Ventures Retrospective, and we are here, Sam and Michael and Federico, and we have a retrospective board. And from last week, we have the previous action items, which I'll just run through. Matt was requesting more upfront planning for sprints. Matt's away at a conference today. We did spend some time planning next week's local support sprint. So hopefully that's to his satisfaction, although we'll have to check in with him again next week. Other action items were this removing the Twitter gem was a fantastic suggestion from Michael, and Nick has indeed put in a pull request doing just that, which I think I merged this morning. So that's great. We haven't got to a review of the Website 1 gem file. That might happen as part of our upcoming Website 1 sprint. Nick was hoping that the sprinting weeks might be adjusted to match with his availability. I was thinking about how we might be able to shift them in about 2 or 3 weeks. I need to look further at that. We did indeed extract the audio from the YouTube and make an exciting podcast for last week, which I was very excited about. We do indeed have the local support sprint coming up next. I don't know why that's an action item particularly. And we do need to reduce the Azure costs. We got lots of great information from Federico about that, and I did shut down a number of boxes, but further work required there. So that's the action items there. I'm going to have to carry some of them over. Let's just talk through some of the struggles we had this week. There was having access to Azure to create new users and analyze costs. I added that. We're still with the permissions thing. It seems Federico has certain superpowers there and can't easily share them. So that's a bit of a challenge. We were excited at the end of last week's NHS sprint that we managed to upgrade the confirm edit, but it did not have the effect of foiling the spam bots on the NHS wiki system we had hoped. So that was disappointing. More work required there. Connected to that, we have SendGrid failed due to us pushing some of the secrets to the GitHub, and we are having trouble getting the emails back online, although they are now. That means that we don't have any spam emails from the spam notifying us about the spam bots, but we would like the emails to work for normal users, so that's a bit of a struggle. We also encountered today that deploying to our shared docu box on Azure is blocked because the drive has got full there. I managed to delete some containers and some log files, which gave us brief access, but still it's like at 99% capacity, and further work is needed there to make that continue to work. We also have confusion about event names and times on Website 1 as a general ongoing thing because we have multiple calendars. And I've started a social prescribing emailing hour to try and get people more involved in the wiki. And I sort of went ahead and did that today and failed to get many people involved. So that was kind of frustrating, but perhaps it prepares the ground. I just had the offer from the social prescribing person in Harrow. They certainly would get involved next Friday. So that was the struggles. Does anyone have any questions or clarifications on those struggles? If not, let's go to Michael. And would you like to select one struggle that you'd like to highlight out of those 6, or perhaps add a new one?
I guess deploying the shared box. Yeah, so figuring out how to get the drive not be full. I'm not sure whether it's just. I think with the Azure, our drive is like of a certain size, right? And it's like depends on the tier.
Indeed.
You can't just flip a switch and get more space.
No, although I have previously encountered the same problem on Amazon, and I fixed a not dissimilar issue with the order graders by provisioning a new larger drive and swapping it over. So that's one possibility. However, I think probably given that we're worried about costs on Azure, it makes more sense to have something in place that's automatically deleting old log files from Doku.
So,
go on.
Why are we all of a sudden worried about costs? Because I remember like a month or two ago you were trying to get the Heroku over to Azure, and now it's like now we're running out of credits, or?
Yes, I'm still trying to get the Heroku over to Azure because I think Heroku is more expensive than Azure. But we had an interim bill which suggested that at our current rate of usage, we'll use up our full credits for the year and maybe go slightly over them. So it's not so much that I want us to not use Azure at all. It's just that I would like us to use it efficiently. So shutting down boxes, like Matt and I created 2 additional boxes as part of the NHS sprint last week. So we shut those down. But there were others from before. So it's about using the resources sensibly. And so it relates into this general issue about being able to analyze the costs. It was the same in Amazon Web Services. It can be difficult to work out which are the things that are actually causing the costs. We tend to get these reports that come in once every 2 or 3 months and then tell us retrospectively what what our limit is, but not necessarily give us a breakdown. Federico's posted some more detailed breakdowns into the NHS wiki, but I haven't had a chance to analyze them yet.
Okay, and then if we move, yeah, I guess we're also at a impasse in terms of nobody has actually deployed another VM with Doku properly set up, or have we? I think we have, haven't we?
Yes.
And is that documented somewhere, how to do that?
Yes.
Where is that documented? Do you know offhand?
I don't recall offhand, but it could easily be found. Joseph has just joined us. Welcome, Joseph. We're midway through our retrospective for the week. We're just going through struggles that we encountered this week.
So yes. Is that documented like in a web page somewhere, like a wiki, or?
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure that I can find it for you, and I can add that as an action item to find Michael that information. Information on setting up new Doku. However, it would be great to we're going to ultimately encounter the same issue on the next Doku box that we set up, which is going to run out of space if we don't have these automatic deletion things in place. So, yeah, but that's there. That's in there. We'll put that in as an action item for me. Federico, did you have any of these struggles? Are they ones that you'd like to talk to? Would you like to add another struggle that you've thought of that came up during the this week in Agile Ventures?
So I don't really have anything particularly coming to mind. There's the one that, when you say these, the one that Federico has superpowers, I mean, I would agree to that. But in terms of permissions,
clearly that's a success that Federico has superpowers.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be great if we could share permissions for the owners or the admins. Looking at that one billing PDF, there they even talk about how doing so comes with risks, unexpected risks. And I would be very worried about losing our sponsorship if we try to do something there. Yeah, so there's no like immediate easy way to do it. Yeah, that's really all I have. I mean, I hear your concern. The only thing I would say is I would try to be available anytime anything's necessary, so I could address it right away.
Sure, yeah, and the things that you've shared in the NH Wiki channel are extremely useful. And I guess the key thing that they're telling us here is that the most expensive stuff are the virtual machines compute hours, which makes me think that sensibly we shut down virtual machines when not needed as a way of that is likely to be our most effective way of reducing cost. The virtual machines costing an order of magnitude more than anything else. So
And actually on that topic, I did mention in like one of my posts there in that channel that like for example that automated premium bot that only runs like I think maybe just half an hour, or I don't even know if Michael can talk to how long it actually spins up and does that. But in that billing document, it actually talks about how to schedule auto shutdowns so that you could just shut it down for just almost the entire week and then just have it run just for a couple hours, and that could save money potentially.
That was wonderful. Yeah, adding that to the suggestions list.
Yeah, it could save money, but yeah. So in terms of it doesn't run that long. It's on Saturday usually, and but I would point out that the cost of that box is not very high because I chose it as a very low end box to start with. So if we were to go back to the thing with moving, I was suggesting we might want to move the dashboard over to that box. So then, I don't know. It depends. I was thinking, with you're saying if we have some way to remove automatically the old containers and stuff, that's great. But I was just thinking about in terms of like unblocking me rather than waiting some indefinite amount of time.
I hear what you're saying. Joseph has joined us. Joseph, did you have any struggles this week that you'd like to share with us, or any questions about any of the struggles mentioned here?
Not really. I haven't had any struggles.
Great, that's wonderful. Great to hear. All right, moving on.
Except with the Docker, but it was fixed. But still, I can't run website 1 locally.
Oh, okay. So Matt's taking the lead on that. So
not locally, but without using Docker. Oh yeah, actually it's locally.
So the Docker works for you?
Yeah, but without Docker, I'm having an issue with. I installed my Postgres using the Postgres app, but seems something is wrong. It can't connect to Postgres.
So you can't run it natively or whatever.
Yeah.
So Docker is working locally. So Docker is you were struggling with that, but ultimately Docker is now allowing you to run website 1 in a virtual machine on your local machine.
Exactly.
And what platform do you like? What is your OS?
Mac OS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're having trouble with Postgres?
Not really, because with RFM it works. With any other project it works except for website 1. I can't connect. It's saying that it can't find. I can't remember exactly the error, because it was a couple of weeks back and we tried to debug with Matt, and the only solution he had is that maybe I need to install the Postgres without using the Postgres app.
Well, I'll just mention there that the Postgres app works for me with website 1 locally. Rather than debugging this now, we're likely to have website 1 sprint soon where we can really get into it. I'm sorry to move us on, just that I haven't got much time left, and we do need to complete the retro. But it sounds like we have both a struggle and a success from you there, Joseph. Michael, sorry to cut you off there. Maybe we can wrap this up, and then there's open chat at the end, and you can inquire further if you're interested. So let's move on to successes. Federico has superpowers. It's the success every week. other things that happened this week. I finally managed to get the annual general meeting minutes distributed, which is part of a blocking admin process that do all the yearly accounts. We did do the local sports sprint planning, as mentioned earlier. I had a series of actually good connections with local charities, national charities, and this Franco-English Data Society this week. It was nice to make those connections. Really enjoyed that we were able to extract the podcast from YouTube, and hope we can maybe automate that so that every Agile Ventures hangout can become available in podcast form. We met up with the NHS clients, and they all seemed very happy and positive. So that was good, despite us not having made as much progress as we wanted on the NHS sprint. Matt gave a fantastic presentation, sort of dry run for his talk about Agile Ventures and Dockerization on Monday, and he's there at the conference doing it now. And Joseph's got exactly that thing that Matt's talking about, working on his laptop. So that's good to know. Let's go around and just say, does anybody want to highlight any of the successes or add any? Should we start with Federico?
I don't think I have anything. It was a good week, I guess, overall. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, no problem at all. Short but sweet. Joseph, did you have any questions about any of the successes, or wanted to add any other successes that you had this week?
Not really. Like Federico said, yeah, it was a great week. Don't have anything in particular to point out to.
Great, that's fine. Wonderful. Michael?
No, but yeah, it's great that you were able to run it natively, Sam. Because we did make some changes a while ago, and I didn't check whether they worked on my Mac OS.
You mean website 1?
Yeah.
Yes, my website 1 continues to work, as far as I know. Yes, there have. I mean, there were a series. I mean, we should all be off listening to Matt's talk, in which he describes some of the convoluted places that he got to. It may conceivably be that the issue running natively might now be fixed for Joseph, but let's we might be able to look at that say in the website 1 sprint. So moving on from successes, suggestions. Yeah, avoiding moving papers or making other unnecessary noises in the retrospective, since we're trying to podcast it. Not that it's such a big deal, really, because it still works. We'd love to share permissions on Azure, with the caveat that Federico worries that if we try to, it might lose our sponsorship. And this other one that we've talked about already, which is that to save money, the automated premium bot could be run only on the day that it's needed. Does anybody have any other suggestions for Agile Ventures, or want to highlight any of these suggestions, Michael?
When we change meetings, we should definitely be changing. Like, before we consider the meeting times change, we should be changing them in the places in the site and on the Slack, because otherwise it's just like those places lose their purpose, right? Because then the reminders and the website 1 are no longer accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And one has to then parse the entire week's chat log to see if somebody has changed it, like just by saying we're changing it, or in some meetings that we're changing it without actually changing it on the places where it's published to everyone.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Michael. Joseph, did you have anything you wanted to add to the suggestions list, or any of the existing suggestions you wanted to highlight? Joseph is muted.
I was muted. Maybe when we, it's just like a minor suggestion, when someone suggests the list of projects in the new members, maybe we should sort them in difficulty level. I think.
Mhm.
So, because I've found, to me, working on a wiki dashboard to be kind of challenging. I should um, I should say, because it's like a big repo and also website one.
Mhm.
Yeah, but with like RFM, like it was easy for me. I'm actually enjoying like taking up issues on RFM because it's like easy or easier for me. Even setting up Docker was easy because it doesn't have like I don't know if it's the configuration that Robert used or something
Mm.
or the complexity. Yeah. So maybe
Yeah,
I don't know if that might help.
that's a great suggestion. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joseph. Federico, would you like to bring us home? Is there any other suggestions you'd like to add, or any of these you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, so I think I have a couple. One would be on scheduling the upcoming sprints, and the other would be on finding ways to recognize members more proactively. I think sometimes I worry that we fail to truly uh, show gratitude to people, like especially the new members that maybe spend a lot of time, setting up and working on their first issue.
Uh-huh.
Maybe having like a new member um, new member award, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, we already have the contribution award, and just making them feel more welcome and more appreciated.
Wonderful.
And for the sprints, yeah, I think if there could be just a little more reach out to maybe the project managers or just the community overall about the upcoming schedule, because I think we're finding that it kind of affects other meetings. Especially I was finding with the premium mobs. And just a little more input maybe on the actual daily schedule and the overall long-term rotation of sprints.
Right. Just trying to capture all that.
Yeah, thanks.
So including daily schedule, working out impact on meetings. Excellent.
And yeah, we've already discussed that somewhat, just like Matt and myself, and over Slack as well. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to organize that. But I guess if we could reach out to more, mainly the people who actually have regular meetings, weekly meetings.
So I'll turn that into more notifications to folks who have regular meetings about sprint schedules. Okay. So we've got 3 action items there. Are there, I guess I'm at the point of needing to wrap up. Looking at the suggestions, does anybody see anything that we can quickly turn into a action item and assign that to somebody? So I'm just going to say I think that it's a great suggestion we have from Michael about ensuring that the meeting changes should be updated in all the different places. I have heard that before. I do try to do that. I do get overwhelmed with trying to manage everything. So I wonder, Michael, it's also the case actually that everybody can edit and update. But so I wonder, Michael, would you be willing to create an AV retrospective event and put the what are they called? The Kent Beck Scrum and async voter meetings on hold through the interface?
Okay, so the AV retrospective would be at this time, right? Each week.
Yes.
And then put the Kent back and the async voter, which is currently in the slot, on hold.
Yes. And I believe I've already updated it in the Slack. There is this general problem that we have of them there being in multiple places, and it would be lovely if we could somehow consolidate those. But yeah, as a first stab, let's if you could do that, that helps free up my time to both find you the documentation for setting up new Docker things and to ensure that the current DocuBox has free space to run.
If I could just quickly add, we were looking at this issue about the events. Sort of, we were looking at it in the Anvil meeting, which is for the front end, a new front end. And one of our items, our priority is decluttering the calendar. And so we got a good mock-up of where we want to head there. And there's a Y event that's bi-weekly.
Yes.
And there's several SHF events that I don't think are being ran right now.
I think you're right. Yes.
And so we might try to reach out to them to maybe be able to pause those.
Indeed. I wonder, Federico, if I can add you there with an action item to do that reach out?
Yep, no problem.
That seem not to be running to check if they can be removed from the calendar. All right. Yeah, so I'm really must run. We've got this. We'll have the retrospective again at the same time next week, where we will hold our feet to the fire in terms of the action items and so on. I hope you've all had a good week in Agile Ventures and looking forward to more exciting stuff next week when we've got the local sports sprint going on. Yeah, thanks so much, and bye for now.
Bye.